Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Ari and welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. I do a lot of book related videos and this is one of those. This week's video, I'm gonna be doing something I'm just so excited. As a really strong reader for the past like 5 years, I have never seen such a good release era. Books have been coming out left and right, and not just any books, books that I really want to read. For that reason, I decided to just vlog my way through all of these books, all of these different release dates, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun with this and see how all of my expectations are either crushed or the opposite by these amazing writers and their amazing creations. I already have 2 books that I know I will for sure be reading in this video, and one of them I will be starting, or I actually started yesterday, which is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This book came out I think April 8th, I'm pretty sure. Book, I started it yesterday. I will be honest, this is not the best era for me for so many books to be coming out because I have so many school presentations, I have classes, I have group projects, just a bunch of things. I still try to find time for myself, and some of that goes into my reading. And I will be honest, it took me a while to actually start it because it's such a thick book that I did end up getting it on Kindle. Don't tell my parents. Yeah, this is, if you don't know, the last book of the Powerless trilogy. Powerless trilogy consists of the Powerless book, then a novella called Powerful, and then Reckless, which I read Reckless in a reading challenge, I think, like maybe a month ago, maybe 2. So it's like the ending of Reckless was, if you've read it, crazy, and it's still very in my head, so I'm just so excited to read this book. I'm very excited to see how it ends, to see what the hell is gonna happen in this. A series about Peyton. She's this girl that lives in a world of ordinaries and elites, and it sort of just goes from there to live through so many different challenges, and she gets into this sort of like competition in the first book where they have to fight for their lives. Pretty much it's giving kind of like Hunger Games, so if you're into that sort of vibe, I would definitely recommend. Now this one I'm very excited to hopefully get back into more of a fantasy with romance as a subplot. However, the romance will be, it will either kill me or bring me back to life, honestly, at this point. This is the first book that we're going to be reading for this video. So excited. And then we have The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I don't know when I'm going to read this. I do want to include it in this video because Jessa Hastings is one of my favorite authors ever. I love all of her books, including Never, which a lot of people don't like. I'm just very excited. I think I'm really going to like it because, again, Jessa Hastings, her writing, everything that goes into that, I'm just excited to get to it. But I'm also nervous, which is the reason why I'm not going to start off with this one straight away. I will instead start off with Fearless. This will help me feel so accomplished that I'm finishing a series. There's another Lila Sage book coming out, Emily Henry, Great Big Beautiful Life. That one One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. Annabelle Monaghan, It's a Love Story, is also coming out soon. I think it's in May though, May 27th. I don't know if that book's gonna be in this video because that's a long time. I'm just excited to get to all of these books. With that being said, I will talk to you guys when I have some thoughts and opinions on this book, although I have already started. I'm very much still on page 59, chapter 7, so a lot has happened, but not enough where I can talk about it. And also, I don't think I'm going to be able to talk about it that much because it is the last book of a trilogy, so I would literally spoil it all for you. But okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, so I wanted help because, oh wait, actually yeah, you pick. Okay guys, I'm here with my friend.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I also have a little booktube.
Yep, and we love doing bookish things. And we're hanging out right now. We're reading Fearless together, of course.
She's a little ahead of me and she says I should be scared.
She should she for sure should be terrified, actually. But I'm debating on my next read being Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage, which comes out today, or The Conditions of Will by
I think you already know what I'm gonna choose. Wait,
I'm gonna let you pick.
guys, Ari put me on Magnolia Parks. Like, I hadn't read Magnolia Parks before I met her, and I'm obsessed. I'm like up to the last book, so I'm like to the point where like I'm obsessed with the series because I haven't finished it. So I think I have to choose The Conditions of Will.
Oh my gosh, I'm so ready. I'm so ready to be into this. I'm not ready. Guys, are we ready for this to be my new personality?
I need the original covers. Like, I need to order.
She did jump into the wagon a little bit late, so she has the like new covers.
Yeah.
Which are not the vibe. So
Really not.
You need to order them from Waterstones.
What is that?
It's a British based
Like a Barnes, but over there?
Yeah, and that's where I got my Once Upon a Broken Heart covers because I didn't like the American ones.
Oh, I've seen both of those. Yeah.
So that's where I ordered mine. It does take a while. Okay guys, so now we know. I'm gonna be finishing this today and starting The Conditions of Will, hopefully today too. I don't think I can deal with this, like one right after the other. Oh my gosh, she wrote this while she was 21. I'm 21. What am I doing? I need to get on it. Oh my gosh. I'm reading the bonus chapter. I wanted to read this. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little bit happy that I don't have classes today. It's a Thursday, and I'm about to go to the gym, but I wanted to hop on here really quick and give you guys some updates because I literally haven't in like 2 days. My last clips at the beach with Rebecca were like 2 days ago, and I've been reading the book that she picked. But I still haven't even given you guys my final conclusions or final thoughts on Fearless. And I also have new thoughts about this new book that I'm reading that I want to show you guys. And I also bought more books, more new release books that I wish I got clips of me doing that actually, but I instead recorded for a little short. So if you guys want to see my my Barnes & Noble run, you can go and see that on my shorts. We should start with talking about Fearless and finally finishing up the whole Powerless series chapter in my channel. So what did I think of this book? Let's go through the positives first. There was a lot of ups and downs, and I guess this can be positive for some, negative for others. For me, it's positive because it just keeps me entertained. I would say this has been one of my most entertaining reads so far this year. Like, this was crazy, like a roller coaster that never ends. You're just going up and down, and you don't know what's coming next. Somewhere like at the end, it just falls back and you're like, what was that? What do you mean, what was that? Like, you know? But with that being said, and that was a fun part, I think I will also say that the romance was something that I kind of liked the way that ended with the romance. And I will say that for a book where this romance was so, I feel like this was a book where the romance was a hard thing to write because you never really know like how it's gonna go, like if this is what the readers want or if they wanted something completely different. For me, I liked the romance in this book. So, and the whole series as a whole. So I'll just say that. Negatives, I feel like as entertaining as it was, there was a lot of plot holes. Or should I even say plot holes? It just felt like there was unfinished business sometimes. Some things felt kind of rushed. I feel like within the last 100 pages, there was a lot of solving everything from the first book that we hadn't even talked about ever before. And with that being said, there were a lot of quick explanation. One of my favorite like moments of this entire book was kind of ruined by that, because it was such a it was like I was so shook with these news that we got about this character that I had this, and this is a good thing. I was like, from the start I was like, this is not like a good character, and then now we finally know everything about it, and the way that like this specific plot ended so suddenly within like maybe 9 to 10 pages, and I was like, wow, she really could have made something more out of that whole thing that had been coming since the first book and that we knew about, so that it would feel like, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on this book. I ended up giving it a 3.25 rating, and I will say I liked the ending. Okay, I think that might be a little unpopular, but I did like the ending. Now, okay, I'm not ready for this to just, oh my gosh, I have no words. The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings is the book that I started that same day, actually, after finishing Fearless at the beach. Well, I didn't start this at the beach. I started it later on throughout the day, I think like late at night. But I am now 92 pages into it, about to start chapter 12. And I do have some thoughts, some like very positive thoughts. I have one little negative thing to say. Let's start with positives first this time, because like it's Jessa Hastings, it's everything I've ever wanted, and my biggest and like number one thing that I have to say that it's so positive that I just wish every book felt like this is that I just got immersed back into this writing. It feels comforting, you know? I love this author. I've read all of her books published so far. I have loved all of her books, and I feel like that's probably gonna happen here too, you know, me being the person that I am and this writer writing the way that she does, which just somehow finds its way, like it just links to my heart, honestly. But the fact that you can get comforted by a different kinds of writing and the different words that these characters use to explain whatever's going on in their books, to me is just insane, and I will never stop talking about it because I love that. The descriptions, there are amazing descriptions in here. I did start reading it on paper, then I did get it on my Kindle, so I will have to annotate all of the things on my Kindle back here. There's this one in particular that I really liked, but first I think I should explain a little bit about this book. So we are introduced to our MMC. Her name is Georgia, and she lives in the UK, but her big sister Marianne is calling her to let her know that her father passed away. And so she immediately called her brother Oliver, who is, I think he's like a year older. He's like slightly older than her, and he lives in California. So she calls him and she's like, Dad died, the call was actually kind of crazy. If you know, you know. From there on, the whole family meets in South Carolina, which is where they're from, to, you know, gather for her dad's passing. And that's sort of when we are introduced to this whole family dynamic. They are a toxic bunch, as is expected from Jessa Hastings. But when I say toxic, I mean crazy toxic, like crazy toxic. There's things here that are just like, I'm just like, wow. Oliver has issues with addiction. He brings his sponsor, his name's Sam Penny, and that's gonna be our FMC, I think, right? So this is a description she made of him that I really liked. And that's all I'm going to say. Also, I do need to add that Georgia, she studies behavioral sciences, I think, which is something that I actually was very interested in when I was, I think, like 15 to 16. I read this huge book on it, and I would literally, I would like ask questions to see how people would react to them. And I think I still do that sometimes. Like, it's something that never really leaves your mind. So I'm reading this book and I'm like clocking all that. But she writes it specifically, and I really liked that. But there's this one moment where she's having a confrontation with this person that has pretty much ruined her life. And then this is how it reads. I feel Sam shift a little next to me. Actually, if I'm dissecting things, I believe he shifted a tiny bit in front of me. Minuscule in action, quite loud in intent though. And my heart rate might have elevated a little itself. Which, I know it may sound like that's nothing, like girl, chill, but I don't know, maybe I just love all these little details that we get, and that's just a small one because there's big descriptions here that I love. Also, thank you so much, Rebecca, for picking this book for me, like, to read right now, because I'm relating to it a lot. I feel like, and I'll talk to you about this, like, there's a couple things here that I needed to read right now, and that's just the magic of reading. And lastly, I would like to say that I love the setting. South Carolina has always been, like, I've always wanted to go to Charleston. South Carolina just sounds like a dream location for me, a dream state. So love that this is set there. Was not expecting it, had no idea. One thing I don't love is that it feels like it's moving a little fast. It feels like a lot of, I don't know, I don't want to say too much, but the characters getting to know each other is moving quick. Like less than 24 hours quick, if you know what I mean. So I'm not loving that. I actually hate that. But other than that, really good. Now, I want to quickly show you guys books that I got the other day. 2 brand new releases that came out April 15th. Today's April 17th. So these are all updates from the beach day. Watch Me by Tahereh Mafi came out. I got the pretty cover. Like, this is a stunning cover. And look, I didn't know this. Look at that. Isn't this stunning? But so excited to read this. I don't think I've ever talked about the Tahereh Mafi series in my channel because I read it so long ago, but I did read all of it. I was obsessed with this series at one point, and now we have kind of like a continuation. So I am super excited, and this is a stunning cover. I hope this is all that I have been wanting. I think it is YA, which I don't love, but you know, I did love the Tahereh Mafi series, and I think it was also YA, so I will of course give it a chance, because who am I to say no? I had to get Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage, which is the 4th book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and I think this might be my next read. I'm just super excited to read this. These books, they just feel like you already know everyone. They're just comforting. I'm in this world with them. Like, I know what's going on and they know me, so we're just like this. But yeah, these are my updates. I need to run to the gym now because it's 10:30. I was supposed to be there like 2 hours ago, but I decided to prioritize sleeping and reading. Hi. Oh. What was that? That was actually terrifying. Hey guys. We have books to talk about. And when I say book, I mean the one and only The Conditions of Will. I'm not finished. I'm not done with this book yet. However, I am a good 70% into it. And I fear I'm going to finish it either today, like tonight, or tomorrow. It was actually kind of a crazy day though. I kind of want to talk about that because I went to school this morning, left classes at like 12 because my afternoon class was canceled. So I was like, let me have lunch with my parents and let's go to the beach. Went into the beach, burnt my whole body off, came home, we deep cleaned the house. My mom and I deep cleaned the whole thing. I did my closet clean out of 2025 while I was at the beach. And this always happens whenever I go to the beach. I fly through my books, and I've been trying to read this book slowly, trying to like slow it out as much as I can, but I was at the beach and I read like 20% of this book while I was there, and I just wasn't counting on it. I'm sorry. I'm like, why is it going so fast? But I do have a couple of things that I want to talk about this book. My second negative point I have so far about this book is that there's these 2 specific questions slash like conversation slash dialogue that we have in this book that I swear we have had at least 10 times already, and I kind of get it because it kind of is the whole dynamic of these 2 characters, so it's like okay, but I don't love that. It feels too repetitive at times. It feels a little unnecessary. That's my first thing that I wanted to say. I love the way that Georgia describes her romantic experiences. So like, love the way that she's experiencing love right now, but I also love the way that she described her ex-boyfriend, and it actually made me look at this ex with like a pretty positive mindset. I'm like, I kind of want to meet him, like, you know, and I hope we do within the next books, or maybe even on this one. I'm not sure because I haven't finished yet, but it just made me curious as to like, honestly, he sounds kind of great. Talking about that ex, we did get some mentions of characters from the Magnolia Parks Daisy Hates universe. I know. Another thing that I don't love about this book actually is that there's a lot of miscommunication, and you would think based on the main character's, Georgia's, her job and everything that she does on a day-to-day basis, and how her whole thing is she hates lying, you would think that miscommunication would not be a thing here, but that seems to be the main trope. And I don't love that. And it's not miscommunication between who you think it'll be, it's between somebody else, which makes it even, like, to me, it's just a doom spot. Like, I can just see the end, and it's not going to be good. And also Jessa Hastings wrote this, so we know it's not going to be good. Like, it's going to mess us up a little bit. Yeah, and then last but not least, I will say, because I had no idea going into this book, and now that I've read quite a lot of it, it is very triggering. If you've dealt with, honestly, there's too many triggers in this book to even mention them all. Although all of these things are a part of it, it still makes me love it so much. Another thing I told my friend Rebecca is the fact that these characters feel so real. I feel too much while I'm reading this book. I think that's my main issue, and that's my main worry right now, because it's scaring me. It's scary. I'm like, I have 30% left, and I'm terrified at this point. I am now going to get into some planning for the rest of the week. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Let's talk about this book. Okay, I have a lot of things to say. Have I mentioned the cover? I think I have. Love this cover. Still not over it. Now, on page 279, I'm gonna finish this book tonight, and I will explain why in a second. But let's talk a little bit about this, and why I need to finish it quickly is because tomorrow is officially April 22nd. Great Big Beautiful Life comes out tomorrow, and you guys already know me. I will be picking it up because, what do you mean? Like, that's just, I'm so excited to read that book. But I did want to kind of talk about this book a little bit to you guys, because I do still have to finish it, but there's quite some thoughts that I have, and also I haven't even talked about it to you guys yet, I don't think. So let's do that. Number one, if you are interested in reading this book, you definitely need to check out the Tahereh Mafi series first. I think that's like a 10-book series. I'm not even sure anymore. It came out a while ago, and I think I read those books maybe 6 years ago. They're really good. I 100% recommend. And the main character for this book, James, or I guess one of the main characters for this book, is family from some of the main characters in the Tahereh Mafi series. I will say I was kind of scared when I started this book because I think it's YA. I'm not particularly big on YA books, but so I was kind of worried about that, but so far, no negatives on that aspect. Let's talk a little bit about these characters. So we get introduced to James. That's how the book starts, if I am correct. Oh, actually, forget about that. Scratch that. We start with Rosabel's POV. Rosabel is going to be our FMC. She lives in the reestablishment. I think that is what it's called. She's kind of used as like a weapon. She's used as a murderer, let's say. The reestablishment is an island, so like it's like surrounded by water, obviously, and it's really hard for the people that live here to leave, or for people to come in. This is a heavily technological, futuristic sort of island. Like they have things inside of people that they control them with, like that level of advancement. She has this thing where people can't read her. Reestablishment is all about reading people's heads. They literally implant these kind of like chips into all of the people there, and then they try to control them or sort of see what they think. It's a very horrible place to be, I would say. Yeah, and she lives with her sister. Her sister's name's Clara. They both have no food. Her sister's dying, it seems. Also, all of this you learn within the first chapter, by the way, I'm not spoiling. Her sister's dying, it seems, and she can't do anything about it. Her parents are both gone. So that's sort of where it starts off. And then we get James' POV. James is the one character that we already know from the Tahereh Mafi series. We got to see him when he was a little kid, and now it's 10 years later. He's 21 years old. Literally love that he's 20, like he's my age. I love reading when characters are my age because I feel represented. And he literally thought to himself, let me go to the island because he does not live there, and then come back to where I safely live, where people have rights and people are just like fine and everyone respects each other, just so that people will take me more seriously and that I'll have some sort of like information about this place, because again, it is an island, it's very closed off, no one really knows what goes on in there except for the people that live there, and the ones that live there are being controlled heavily by the whole government there. So that's sort of the initial like chapter 1 and 2. He gets in there, and then, you know, they have a really interesting way of meeting. And also James has these powers, which if you read Shatter Me, you know majority of the characters have some sort of power. James also has powers. Those are like the story points that I wanted to talk about. Now about the book itself, I am so happy to be back with this author's writing. He just writes in a way that brings me back, again, like 6 years, like that's a long time. And I don't know, I really love it. It's like this, it's very simple writing, straight to the point, but there's sometimes she uses a lot of like repetitions, and I don't know, I love those. I feel like it really, I don't know if it's because I grew reading these books, but like it literally, it just goes to my heart and I'm like, oh my gosh. But then also something very interesting that I wrote down is the fact that this book kind of had a different structure to what I would say I'm used to, and maybe even you, regarding if like the first book of a series. Usually it starts off pretty tame. Maybe there's like an exciting moment when it first starts off for the first like maybe 30 pages, then it's pretty slow, and then at the end it's crazy. This one so far has been the exact opposite. The first, I'll say 150 pages, absolutely insane in my opinion. Like very fast paced, a lot of adventure, like a lot of things happening. And then now it's the part where it's sort of starting to slow down, and it seems like it's gonna have a slow ending, but I guess we'll see. I don't think they can do that much within, I think I have like 70 pages left, so I don't really know where it's going right now. I'm kind of interested to read and again find that out. Another point I would like to add is that if you are reading this book because you read the Shatter Me series and you loved it, you will probably enjoy the fact that we get to see Kenji, Juliet, Aaron, even Adam, like we get to see all of them now when it's 10 years later, and we are given updates on all of these. They're like very prominent characters. I thought at first it was just like maybe they'd be mentioned once or twice, but no, they are very prominently in this story, which I absolutely love. Also, let's not forget Aaron. He's our man, okay? He's our man. He built me. Like, he created this. He is like the blueprint for the type of man that I want. I think those are like my little notes that I have. Tomorrow, it's another Tuesday, and Great Big Beautiful World comes out tomorrow, so I will be finishing this right now. Those are my updates. I'm so excited to keep reading. I kind of feel like editing, so I think I'm gonna edit now for a little bit, and that's where we're at. All right, guys, it's finally time for us to say goodbye. But before that, I wanted to sort of go through my reads for this video, give you guys my final ratings on these, because I don't think I really talked about ratings much in this video, or if I did, I just forgot. Let's start off with the first book we read, which was Fearless by Lauren Robert. This, again, you can go back and listen to my opinions. I'm not gonna go into opinions right now. I'm just gonna go into, you know, ratings, but I ended up giving this book a 3.25 star. It was a lot of fun, it was a lot. I think that's the best way to describe this. Like, a lot was going on at all times, and it was fun, but sometimes things didn't feel like they were thoroughly thought about, you know? That's why it's a 3.25. I did like the ending of this series, as I mentioned before, and the characters that I loved the most did get the ending that I wanted for them. So that makes me happy, therefore a 3.25. The Conditions of Film by Jessa Hastings. I gave this book 4 stars. I think it's the first Jessa Hastings book I didn't give 5 stars to, which is kind of crazy because everything about this book I loved. Why is it a 4 star? Because the ending confused me. First of all, I went into this thinking that this was the first book in a series, and it might be, but the ending felt kind of like conclusive. So I don't know if the next book is gonna be different characters or what's gonna happen next. I would not be surprised if it were about this one other character that I'm thinking about, or maybe even 2. There's 2 characters that this book really made me want to know more about and even read their own book. So those are like that's what I'm currently thinking that might happen in the future, but I did not love the ending. Everything just felt too non-Jessa Hastings for me. Usually her endings are very much like in the middle. Like you end the book, but you feel like you could have had another book to go. Another thing were the kind of like little things that I mentioned while I was reading this, such as the fact that it felt repetitive at times. I feel like it was too fast for me, and also the ending was 100% not realistic to me as well. So I guess the 4 stars. And then the last book I read for this video was Watch Me by Tahereh Mafi. I don't even think I talked much about it. If I did, I forgot. I did want to like conclude this little chapter, this little moment of me reading it. So yeah, I think my final conclusion for this book was that it felt also a little unrealistic. And when I say a little, maybe not a little even. Like it just felt unrealistic to me. A couple of things, like they didn't really make a lot of sense. Like if you have IQ, why would you do that? You know, that sort of thing. But I was reading this just for fun, not taking it seriously. So like it was a fun read. This ended up being a 3.75 stars for me, and that's where we're at. These were the books that I read for this video. Let me know if you guys have read these books and what you thought of them, or if there's any new highly anticipated reads that you guys have and want me to read as well. Let me know in the comments. Any new releases that you guys are looking forward to as well, because I do have some more and I'm very excited to get to those in part 2. There will be a part 2 to this video. I was gonna make it a big one video, but this video is already big enough, so let me divide it into 2 so I can get to more reading on the next one as well. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe down below, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you hopefully within the next 2 weeks. Bye!